Newman Show, 1480 AM on your radio dial. Telephone number 202-889-9797. Tell your friends to tune us in around the world at www.rocknewmanshow.com. Minister Farrakhan, in our first segment, in the first hour today, I had a gentleman on who, for years, I've watched on various news shows and have applauded what I've heard him talk about. And I certainly shared that with him today. His name was Mark Potok, and he's with the Southern Poverty Law Center. And when I've seen him on CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, whatever it might be, he typically has been has talked about extremism. He's talked about racial hatred. He's talked about groups that are violent. I did a little study to see how their work has crushed groups like the White Citizens Council, the Ku Klux Klan. And as I did my research, it was an absolute shock to me. I frankly, being somewhat familiar with you and the Nation of Islam, and basically just seeing your work and the nation's work, since my days at Howard University in the 1970s, I was absolutely shocked to find out that the Southern Poverty Law Center had listed the Nation of Islam as a hate group. So I had a discussion with Mark Potok, and he agreed to come on this morning. I invited Mark to come on while you were on. And his timing, whatever it was, he could only join us in the 9 o'clock hour. And so I talked to him about some of the work that they've done, the threats that they live under. We were made aware of people trying to bomb their buildings. They say they spend over $1 million a year in security for people that constantly live under constant threat. And I asked him whether or not, I talked to him and asked him whether or not he was aware of the work that the nation does and sort of the deeds that I think are universally acknowledged that are good deeds by the nation. And he said, yes, indeed, he was aware of that. But yes, that the Southern Poverty Law Center lists the Nation of Islam as a hate group because of what he characterized as the doctrine, and that the doctrine is one that speaks that the white race is an inferior race, and that those teachings continue today. Because I asked him, I said, I haven't been in a church or a synagogue or a mosque in quite some time, so I can't tell you what the teachings of any of the three are for the most part. But are you aware? So he said, yeah, and I've talked to several of their followers, and they don't know the teachings. They don't know those racist teachings exist. I challenged that a bit to say that sounded a little paternalistic, that the Nation of Islam followers wouldn't understand the teachings of the Nation of Islam. My question to you, and I guess what I'd like for you to do, is being on a hate list of a group like this. That's a fairly damning label. And the support and voice that he gave to why, because the nation in the past and still teaches that the white race is an inferior race and the black race is a superior race. I'd like for you to respond to those claims.
Thank you, Rock. To Mr. Botok and to the Poverty Law Center and to white and black people alike. First, hate is always manifested not just with words, but with deeds. And if he and they out of their hatred for us, have made books that they put in schools saying that the Nation of Islam is a hate group. They have made films and they put it before police departments that we are a hate group. They are the purveyors of hate against the Nation of Islam. Now, if they've spent $1 million a year on security, and yet all of this that they've done to us, yet they can't find one hateful act that any one of us has done to any one of them. So what is it about our doctrine that causes them to classify us as a hate group? Let me tell you simply what it is. Now, they say that we teach that white is inferior and black is superior. I don't know in what context you are speaking, because we as black people are in a very inferior position, not only in America, but in the Caribbean, in Central and South America, and in Africa. We once were in a superior position. But since two things can't occupy the same space at the same time, they are the ruling people of this time. So that's a lie or a misstatement of fact. But here's what we teach. And white folk teach it too. Let's see. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, two white people cannot produce yellow, much less brown or black. But the black man in us and from us came every species of human being that is on our planet. That is not hate or racism. That is an absolute fact. Now, some white anthropologists, one of the main ones was Dr. Leakey. He was looking for the origin of man. And he didn't. He may have passed through Europe, but he didn't stay there. He went to Africa, and he found the bones of a man 750,000 years of age, and they called him Zinjanthropus. Zinj meaning black, anthropus meaning man, and Zinjanthropus had a father. So they kept on searching, and they found bones of black people 1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million years. We are considered in the Bible the Ancient of Days. You cannot find our origin in the earth or in the sun. You find it with God. Now, having said that, does that mean we are superior? In the genetic sense, absolutely. If you keep bothering us, black folk shoot not AK-47s, they shoot something that if we mix with you, you are gone, we stay. So genetically, you are inferior. That's not your mentality. That's not your creativity. That's your genetic makeup. We can wipe you off the earth just cohabiting with you. And that's why your population is going down. Now, we didn't do that. You're the one that's promoting intermarriage now. Yes, there was a time when you would kill a black man for looking under a white woman's dress that was hanging on a clothesline. Now that's hate. We don't do that. We are telling the truth. You came from us. You are the Adam of the Bible, and we are the us that made man in our image and after our likeness. And we are the us that gave you time on our planet for you to live your life for 6,000 years, and we would not interfere with your rule until the coming of God. God is present now, and the truth is present now. So we are your Alpha, and we are your Omega. You began from us, and you will end with us. That's real. That's not hate. That's your scripture. Now let's go to real. No, I got to finish this, Rob. Oh, I'm just getting warmed up here. Now, here's hate. I'm hearing myself coming back.
So am I. So whatever is going on in the engineering, I'm hearing a reverb.
Yeah, don't get excited and try to mess it up.
Yeah, there is a repeat. We're having a technical issue.
No, it's not technical, it's spiritual. You know.
And now we don't. Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
I understand. Believe me, see, once you open Pandora's box, you can't take what's coming out of it. See, but you opened it. Now, isn't it true that in the Talmudic, the Babylonian Talmud, this is Jewish literature, that it was a Jewish rabbi that introduced the thought that black people are the children of Ham and are doomed, as scriptures say, to be hewers of wood and drawers of water, that we are not black out of this creation of God. We are cursed black. Wrong. But you put that out. Is that love or is that hate? How many Muslims have segregated you? You down in Alabama, Mr. Potok. And in Alabama, who was it that put up white and black drinking fountains? Who put up white and black motel? See, you are the author of that, and that speaks to your hatred of us. We didn't do that to you. You all did that to us. Right now, in the movie, there's a history of the great ball player, Jackie Robinson. Look at what that man had to suffer to bring and open the door to black and brown and yellow to become a part of baseball. There was no black, there was no brown, there was no Japanese in baseball. So Jackie Robinson and black people opened the door for the rest of those who now are in baseball. Look, man, this is not our doing on your people. This is your doings on our people. So will the real hater stand up? And by the way, I want to say this. Since you charged us with being a hate group, I think we ought to bring you into your courts and make you prove what you assert about us with fact, not with innuendo, not with the wicked way you have been spreading your vile talk about us. We can prove what we say about you, but you cannot prove what you're saying about us. Maybe we'll iron this out before your courts. We don't get justice, but the truth will come out.
Let me ask on that point. On that particular man, there's so much to ask.
Yeah, we'll ask it all.
Yeah, let me ask this.
Don't hold nothing back.
So the Southern Poverty Law Center, I repeat, has the Nation of Islam listed as a hate group. Now, it would seem to me, here's what I'd like to do. As someone who arranged boxing matches, someone who arranged fights, and someone who is making an earnest effort to try to heal the wounds of all. If Mr. Potok is still watching, I hope you are, and if not, we'll certainly, reach out. I would ask Mr. Potok and maybe his people I would ask him if he would be interested in having an open dialogue to either agree or to or vehemently disagree. Is that something that you would be interested in?
Yeah, of course. Let me help you with that. See, look, don't bring Potok alone. Bring the ADL, Mr. Foxman. Bring the presidents of the 12 Jewish organizations. Sit down in front of the world with us and our scholars, and we'll debate you, and I know you won't win. That's why you don't want to come on no show with me. Let me say this. I don't argue. I make a statement of fact. You can deal with it or leave it alone. But if you want a showdown, I'll call for it. You respond. Bring Mr. Foxman. Bring the 12 scholars of the Jewish presidents. Bring those who say we are anti-Semitic and arrange a national and international showdown. And let's see where the truth is. Yeah, we can be one, but all liars and deceivers got to be shown up and put down. And he's one of them.
And when you say he's one of them, you're speaking of?
He, Potok. He, Abraham Foxman. He, the ADL. All of those that are condemning the nation. Come on out and let's have a showdown.
I want to say this, that when people have a difference of opinion, whether it is a presidential election, whether it is election for mayor or for dog catcher, we live in supposedly a democratic society. And there are debates to be had to determine and let people decide for themselves. Now, I know that there is a body of thought that says that you don't talk with an extremist, you don't talk with a terrorist. But if any example in our government is to be taken, we talk to China. We talk to North Korea. Converging sides with very different and hostile sentiments try to talk. Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat, each side calling the other a terrorist. At least they try to talk. And for me, and I don't want to sound Pollyannish or naive, I would ask the simple question. Let's have a coming together to deal with the questions that have been posed. Not the questions, I'm sorry, the accusations. The accusation, Mark, that you make, that you feel rooted and comfortable in your belief, Mark, that the Nation of Islam should continue to be listed as a hate group. And the minister is obviously vehemently disagrees. Now, you have your reasons, Mark, and obviously the minister has his. And what I would like to invite both of you to do at some point, and as you say, if Mr. Foxman from the ADL and the other people that you talked about, why wouldn't we have that kind of open, transparent dialogue to try at the end of the day to reason with each other? That is something certainly that I will attempt to advocate from this little desk where I sit, and we'll see what happens.
Now let me just say this, brother. You can't find one act that the Nation of Islam and Louis Farrakhan has done against Jews or whites. There are hate crimes in America, and they're all cataloged. Not one has been named on the Nation of Islam and followers of Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If we are haters, why can't you show me some hateful act that we have done other than our telling the truth that exposes your lies and your deceit? So let's have the showdown. I love the term showdown. And since you are a promoter of a fight, this is a fight that needs to be had. Make the fight happen. Otherwise, you'll always follow me up. If I come on the show, you'll come behind me. Oh, he's a hater. He's this. No, let's come out in the light. You know how cockroaches are when the light comes on. You know how rats are when the light comes on. They run for cover. Well, we're not running nowhere. We look for this kind of dialogue. We've tried for almost 30 years to have a dialogue, a meaningful dialogue. We've had dialogues, all right, but it ends up with them telling me I got to apologize for telling the truth. You can't get no apology from me for telling truth. Now, I will prove my truth. Let them come.
And let us go to the phones. We have callers lined up. Caller, you're on the line. You're on the Rock Newman Show. Our guest is in studio is Minister Louis Farrakhan.